Hi there, happy Tuesday. This week we're gonna shift things around a little bit. We often talk about mindset stuff and communication styles and, how to cope with stuff and all this kind of stuff. This week we're really gonna talk about, I guess this is a mindset type of thing, but when we're talking about past, present, or future, we do find that most people seem to put more emphasis on one of those than the others. Sometimes people really focus on the past, where they're either consistently bringing up, the good old days, or obsessing over mistakes that they've made in the past or things like that, and always living in the past, living as if it's happening to them today, where they're a little bit stuck, can't get past the glory years, can't get past something that someone has done to hurt them years and years ago, but they're still living it as if it's still real, as if it's still happening to them, even though it's been years ago, really being stuck or ruminating in things that have happened in the past, be it good or bad or neutral, but how much of that energy is spent there. We also find that some people are so focused on the future that maybe they don't learn from their past lessons. They're so in planning, what's next, what's next, what's next. Okay, what's next? What's the next? What's the more? What's the different? What's the next? What's the next? What's the next? And again, not necessarily putting some emphasis on lessons from the past or what's happening right now in this moment. And then, of course, we're always talking about living in the present. But come to the here and now. Let's live in the present. And yes, that's lovely. And yes, that reduces worry. And there's so many benefits to that. But we also have to make sure we're careful with that as well. That if we're not putting any time or energy into the future, or we're not putting any time or energy into learning from the past, that can also bring on a very distressing life, or, like there are negative repercussions that can come from only living in this present moment as well. So what we're finding is a blend is healthy. And so the first thing that we need to do is assess, which one are you? Where do you focus most of your time? So here are some little tips, like maybe like a little test for you, right? Do you find that maybe you're making the same mistakes over and over again? Do you find that you're making similar mistakes? Do you find that you're making similar choices? Similar things happen to you from the outside world? You find yourself in relationships with similar types of people? You're just surprised by, not again. How did this happen to me again? The same thing keeps happening to me. I keep having money problems over and over again. I keep not having enough money to spend on the things that I want, or I keep ending up with the same type of partner that treats me the same way, or I keep ending up whatever it is. Why do these same things keep happening to me? That could be a cue that you're not spending enough time in the past and learning from your past experiences. So assessing all of those similar things in the past, and what were the contributing factors? What did you do that led you to each one of these situations that ended up in the same outcome? Like really looking at, it might be time to take some time and look into the past to learn from what are the commonalities between all of these situations that keep popping up that are so similar. So another piece of this question, another thing to ask yourself is, are you continually like shocked by life? Right? And sometimes you're shocked by that same thing happening over and over again. But are you continually shocked, like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Whoa, how did they do that? Whoa, what's going on? If you find yourself like continually shocked by life and wondering how things are happening, like, how did that happen? Just didn't see that coming. That might mean that maybe it's time to spend a little bit more time into the future. Spend a little bit more time looking at what are the repercussions of today's actions going to be tomorrow. Like, are you shocked that, oh my goodness, my vacation's here, but I don't have any money for it? Well, did you plan for it? Did you set up that savings account? Did you do what you needed to do, right? So really noticing, if you find yourself continually like, how did that happen? How did that happen? You may need to spend a little bit more time in planning your future and playing out in your mind, okay, if I make this decision today, what are the long-term repercussions down the road? If I make this decision today, what are the long-term repercussions? What is my desired future? And work your way back of how do I get there starting today? What is the thing I need to do today that's the first step on the path towards this goal in the future? And then the third question to ask yourself is, do you find yourself like with a bad memory, right? Now, this isn't, there can be medical reasons for this and all this kind of stuff too, but in general, in generally healthy people, really looking at like, are you finding yourself people saying, no, remember that conversation? And you're like, yep, nope, no clue, like not remembering things. Or if you're finding that your life is kind of flat, kind of like, meh, here I am. And not really finding that enjoyment, that excitement, that love, connection, happiness, whatever it is that you want to get out of life when you're not getting it. Kind of take a look at, are you spending enough time in the present? If we are spending so much time ruminating on the past or so much time planning our future, we might not be present enough to really feel in and be in and get to enjoy this present moment and be able to remember it when we are multitasking or worried about the future while you're in a conversation about the present or whatever it might be. The lack of memory it can be a big red flag that you're just not spending enough time being present when you're doing things in the present, that the mind, that your body is here, but your mind is in either the past or future. So take this little quiz for yourself and see, like, do you find yourself at what percentage are you finding yourself either, repeating, life events or mistakes, or ruminating on the past, or wishing you were back there, finding yourself, bringing yourself back there, or constantly looking for are you constantly shocked by what's happening to you and don't know, feeling blindsided by so many things in your life? How often do you find that happening? And how often do you find this feeling flat, feeling, lack of memory, and things like that? So really looking at what percentage of time you're spending in which area and assessing, are some of these things happening to you? And maybe it's time to purposefully devote some time in one of the other tenses. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know how this lands, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.